Regime change is a double-edged sword. Donald Trump unsheathed it, along with Israel, and sought to wield it against the Iranians. But it cuts both ways. Donald Trump lost the war on day one, the first 6 bombs that fell on Iran. He lost the war, which means there will be regime change in the United States before there's regime change in Iran. Donald Trump's cult of personality will not survive the midterm elections, because in order to win the midterm elections, Donald Trump needed to deliver a very quick, relatively bloodless war to the American people, one that accomplished what no other American president in 47 years has been able to do. But instead, he's going to go down the path of yet another failed president who's gotten the United States involved in a long, drawn-out war that we won't win. We will lose. We don't know how many lives we will lose, but it'll be devastating. The Iranians will not buckle. There will be no popular uprising in Iran to overthrow the regime. Ali Khamenei is a martyr now, a martyr of the significance of Hussein himself, a martyr that in the eyes of the Shia faithful is the equal to Ali. That's why the last posting on his X account invoked Ali, a symbol of defiance. And so the Shia faithful will rally around Ali Khamenei, a man who was, 88 years old at his death?
I think 86, but close.
86. Had disease. His biggest fear was to die a fragile old man. He said he wanted to go out a martyr. People keep saying, why did he stay in his residence knowing what was going to happen? Why did Hussein lead the charge against the unfaithful in the Battle of Karbala? Because he chose martyrdom. He chose martyrdom as a way of exposing the lack of Islamic adherence on the part of the Umayyad caliphs. He chose martyrdom to protect his followers who were seeking to flee from the battle. Ali Khamenei, this frail old man, didn't want to die hiding in a bunker, allowing his legacy to be tarnished by those who diminished him through that action. Ali Khamenei sat down with a circle of fellow martyrs. Everybody at that meeting knew what was going to happen. And they knew that through their sacrifice, they would elevate the cause of the Islamic Republic back into the heart and soul of the Iranian people, and that is manifest today. Ali Khamenei chose martyrdom. We gave it to him because we are truly the stupidest people on the planet. Iran's being pounded by the most technologically advanced militaries in the world. The Israeli military, which achieved its technological prominence because of American weaponry, and the United States, which, of course, when you pour in nearly $1 trillion a year, or 1.5 trillion if this budget goes through, you better have advanced weapons. And so we are inflicting death and destruction on Iran as we speak. But Iran is a very large nation, 4 times the size of Iraq, 90 million population, that have now, again, threatening to bomb people to death in a nation that reveres martyrdom is really the dumbest path to take. As you said, Ali Khamenei opted to stay at home and do his business from home together with people who believe the same thing because they are leaders. They are going to lead by example. And the example for Iran to set right now is their willingness to absorb the damage inflicted by the evil modern day Umayyads, Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, because they believe in the end that they will emerge victorious. So we are blowing things up, but the Iranians are responding, and they're responding in a way that took everybody off guard, because I think most people thought that Iran would respond directly to Israel, and then there would be a sort of an escalation ladder taking place as they started to strike one American base, then another, in an effort to get the United States and Israel to the negotiating table. But Iran literally just went out and hit everything. And even the Trump administration, like, we didn't expect this to happen. They've hit us in a way that nobody's ever hit us before, and they're sustaining that. Yes, we are blowing things up, but if we don't understand that for the last 20 years, Iran has been preparing for this very scenario, that Iran understands better than we do what we do. They will take losses, but they will continue to launch as we're seeing now. And they have prepared stockpiles that are successfully hidden, sequestered, spread out that they'll be able to draw upon for months. We, on the other hand, will run out of ammunition in weeks. And again, we look at regime change just to look at coming out from a targeting perspective. Again, for the ignorant masses in your chat and everybody else's chat, I used to do this for a living, so shut up and listen. When we prepare a strategic air campaign of this nature, we have objectives that we want to reach. We say that by this period of time, we should achieve this results. Then we move to this, move that, and it's sort of a campaign of sequential events that build up on one another till you get to the culminating moment, which is the collapse of the enemy that you were targeting. We have a finite amount of resources. So we take these resources and we allocate them accordingly. We put them on, for instance, the first phase, the first goal objective to achieve that. And then we take these resources and reapply them, part of a planned process to achieve the next and the next and the next and the next. But what happens, and it happened in the Gulf War, where, for instance, we had resources, 2 F-15E Strike Eagle squadrons that were applied to one of the primary phase 1 objectives of suppressing Iraqi ballistic missile launch capability in Western Iraq. And we send them out to strike fixed arm launchers and hit up mobile launch sites. And according to the plan, we were supposed to have achieved all this on the second day. First day of primary strikes, second day of restrikes, and then we have wipe that target deck off, and we move these squadrons over to their next mission assignments, which await them outside of Basra and outside of Baghdad. But we didn't destroy anything. The missiles kept launching. So we had to keep these F-15E squadrons on target and reinforce them, diverting resources away from the other target decks to go down this route, and it degraded the strategic air campaign. But at that time, we had sufficient resources. We had a lot of airplanes, a lot of bombs. So we just lengthened the strategic air campaign, and we rode out this problem set. Here we have a strategic campaign that is crippled from the start by insufficient resources. The admiral that was fired said, we don't have enough airplanes and we don't have enough bombs, so we can't do what you want us to do. But the others came in and said, no, we've planned this very carefully. We are going to kill a bunch of people. The first 6 bombs are going to kill Khamenei and 40 people, and that will cascade the collapse of the regime, and then we move to suppression of the security forces, and then we achieve regime change, and we win. And Trump can do his stupid little Trump YMCA moronic dance. So they fired a whole bunch of missiles to achieve regime change. If you heard what we just said, I hope the audience is listening. The regime has not collapsed. It has fallen on the Constitution, and the president of Iran sits at the head of a 3-person succession committee until they elect a new supreme leader. There is the Assembly of Experts, which, by the way, is democratically elected. I want to remind all you haters out there that Iran is probably the most successfully functioning democracy in the Middle East. And they elect the Assembly of Experts, who then, through the will of the people, monitor the supreme leader and will select the new supreme leader. And the regime continues. It's there. It's viable. It is functioning. We failed in regime change. So all of those resources that we used up on day one are gone. We have already put ourselves behind the 8 ball. And we're chasing something that we'll never catch up to because we don't have time. We don't have time because we don't have the resources. We don't have the ammunition. We're burning through our ammunition at rates that we'll never be able to replenish. And it's not just what we're doing against Iran, what Iran is doing against us. By continuing to fly these attacks, they are sucking up resources. Over 1,000 Iranian missiles were launched on day one. The average expenditure rate for the air defense is 3 to 4 missiles per missile. That means that we have burned through 3,000 to 4,000 interceptor missiles. And the missiles are still flying. The Iranians have planned a campaign that will last months. We have the ability to sustain this for maybe another week. And then we run out of missiles. We got nothing left. Nothing. And just again, for all you genius geopolitical analysts out there, when I say nothing, that means we have nothing in the Pacific. What would happen if China decided they wanted to take Taiwan right about now? We got nothing. All our cruise missiles are being chewed up. All our interceptor missiles are gone. What would happen? I mean, Russia's not going to do it, but if Russia wanted to make a move on Europe, we got nothing. Nothing. This is the stupidity of this. We gambled everything to achieve what? To make Israel happy. the Iranians had agreed to. There's a wonderful post on X written by one of the diplomatic advisors to the ruler of Oman, who was managing this negotiation. And he talks about what had been accomplished. And he said that the deal that was agreed to by the Iranians got rid of their nuclear enrichment program and everything but name only, meaning that if you wanted to ensure that Iran would never have a nuclear weapon, this was the deal. This would have been Donald Trump's great peacemaking diplomatic victory, peace through strength, threaten an attack, get the Iranians at the table and get them under pressure to agree to something so fundamental that you could stand up legitimately and say, there will never be an Iranian nuclear, because there are no sunset clauses in this, unlike the JCPOA, which aged out. This one is permanent forever. I want to ask all the morons in your chat, what is the status of the 60% enriched uranium that we failed to destroy in Donald Trump's first attack against Iran? We didn't know where it is. We don't know where it is. Do you think we're getting it today? And if we don't get it, do you think Iran may have, over the period of time, sequestered away enough final manufacturing capacity to convert that into at least 5 or 10 nuclear bombs the size of Hiroshima? But you don't know, do you? Because you're stupid. You're as stupid as the president is. I'm sorry, Danny, I shouldn't be insulting your audience or any audience, but I'm so fed up because it is because of the ignorance of people like this that the president believes he has legitimacy to do what he's doing. We have stupid people out there that don't think through the problem, who are ignorant of the problem. And, I'm just fed up with them because, we are looking at a world that's going to hell.